As NBC News can now report that the January 6th committee plans to vote to subpoena former President Donald Trump during today's hearing. Sources familiar with the committee's plans tell NBC News, with members wanting to put this historic move on the public record, despite multiple members previously acknowledging how difficult or even unlikely it would be for the former president to comply, and this subpoena would expire with the current Congress. Katie, but this has been noticed to the Speaker of the House. Speaker Pelosi has been notified of it. It would not be unprecedented. We understand that, from our former Justice correspondent Pete Williams has written notes to this effect that Thomas Jefferson, Richard Nixon, and Bill Clinton were all subpoenaed by Congress. Jefferson refused to comply on documents. Nixon won the tapes, resigned instead. Bill Clinton agreed to testify, so the subpoena was withdrawn. But, Katie, this would be an extraordinary step, and there's been a lot of other testimony today that is just compelling. We'll go through that in a moment.
It would be an extraordinary step in this moment. The question is, would Donald Trump want to take him up on that? Would he want that live audience, all those millions of people watching, to see him push back directly on the committee? We know from reporting that he has been frustrated by a lack of defense that he's seen in these committee hearings, which have got millions upon millions upon millions of viewers, tens of millions of viewers, a large, giant audience. Will Donald Trump want to turn away that opportunity? That is an open question. We got a little bit of an indication that this was where this committee was going right at the outset of this committee hearing when Liz Cheney said we can't just punish the foot soldiers. And they've been trying to paint this picture that Donald Trump was in the center of it. Donald Trump knew what was going to happen. He was a part of this. And then she said this. Let's listen.
Mr. Chairman, the violence and lawlessness of January 6th was unjustifiable. But our nation cannot only punish the foot soldiers who stormed our Capitol. Those who planned to overturn our election and brought us to the point of violence must also be accountable. With every effort to excuse or justify the conduct of the former president, we chip away at the foundation of our republic. Indefensible conduct is defended, inexcusable conduct is excused. Without accountability, it all becomes normal and it will recur. So as we watch the evidence today, please consider where our nation is in its history. Consider whether we can survive for another 246 years. Most people in most places on earth have not been free. America is an exception. And America continues only because we bind ourselves to our founders' principles, to our Constitution. We recognize that some principles must be beyond politics, inviolate, and more important than any single American who has ever lived.
And with her making that point, that is the frame that they initially wanted to put on all of this, that Donald Trump broke all the rules, had a premeditated plan, was told repeatedly by top officials that the election was over, had not been stolen. But I just want to point out, Katie, that it's one thing for him to say at a rally, as he just did the other day, that the election was stolen, and go through all of these false statements. He can't do that under oath to Congress. So testifying would be at the risk of perjuring himself and creating a crime in full view.
It would definitely put him in a more perilous position. I'm certain the committee would want to have him come do exactly that, as he has done in public. But it is a tempting prospect, is my point about Donald Trump. We'll see if any of his lawyers are successful, if he wanted to, in fighting back to say, no, this is not a good idea. Back with us.